Hello everyone, the title kind of speaks for itself, so I don't feel like I need to elaborate on what this video is, but I do have to mention that this video is being recorded on the 27th, so it is going to have probably some of the moves here are not going to age well, is what I'm getting at. Because unfortunately, this video is going to be coming after the draft, and of course, draft night is a big time for trades, and there's nothing I can do about that. I'm going on a trip, and I had to come up with a video, so that's what this is. That's what part 2 of this video when I do the Eastern Conference is going to be. So if some of these trades end up aging poorly, I guess that sucks. Or not trades, some of it's moves, you know what I mean. Anyways, if you want my opinion on specific moves, if they're bigger ones, like bigger names, I'm going to be doing that over on my second channel when I'm in Los Angeles, but otherwise I won't be for like smaller stuff. But yeah, that's it. On with the topic, or on with the video. You know what I mean. Before I continue on with this video, about half of the people that watch these videos are not subscribed, so if you're falling to that 50%, then please subscribe. Also, drop a like on this video. It only takes 1 second and makes a massive difference. I am trying to hit 200k subscribers on this channel by the end of the year, so your subscription would be much appreciated. So, for my first trade for the Utah Jazz, I don't know. Bring back Mike Conley. That's literally the only thing that I can think of this offseason that they really have to do. I don't know what it is about the Utah Jazz, but there's something about this team where I can never think of moves that the team should make. So I don't know. This is the only team of the 15 where I will have zero move for them. I got nothing. For the Phoenix Suns, signed Dwayne Dedmon or Gorgui Dieng for their backup 5. Their backup 5 is Dario Saric as of right now, and while he's cool offensively, defensively he's not the best, and he wasn't getting a lot of playoff minutes as a result of that. So I would rather you bring in somebody like Dieng or Dedmon, who are both capable defensive players, more than capable, actually good defensive players, and they can also still stretch the floor just like Dario Saric can. For the Denver Nuggets, do a JaMychal Green sign-and trade plus Will Barton, as well as 1 or probably 2 first-round picks for Malcolm Brogdon. The Pacers have been shopping Malcolm Brogdon because they believe that Karis LeVert can be their team's point guard, so he could potentially be a trade option for the Nuggets. The Nuggets have 4 pretty much amazing set-in-stone starters with Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, and of course the man himself, Will Barton, not Nikola Jokic. No, Will Barton is clearly the 5th guy in that starting lineup, and while he is pretty damn good and often underrated, Malcolm Brogdon is a really good point guard or shooting guard. Really, he can play whichever you need him to be. He can be a playmaker, 3-point shooter, defensive player. He's kind of the full package at a pretty good rate, so he'd be fantastic for the team, and I think that's a relatively fair offer for him. The Green sign and trade and Will Barton is really just there for salary filler. I don't think the Pacers need it that much, although if they're trying to remain competitive even after trading Brogdon, those are role players that would help them do that. For the Clippers, they should trade Patrick Beverley, Rajon Rondo, and the 25th pick selection for a DeMar DeRozan sign and trade. The reason I say pick selection, and I'm going to be doing it in this video and the next video, is again, this video is pre-NBA draft, so I'm just saying whoever the Clippers take at 25, maybe they take someone on behalf of the Spurs knowing they're doing this sign and trade later on, just trade that player for a DeMar DeRozan sign and trade. I understand why there's hesitance in DeMar DeRozan being like the point guard of the Clippers. The lack of a 3-point shot is definitely a huge factor, but his playmaking is huge. It'll add to their scoring ability outside of or inside of the 3-point line. But in general, I think it's a really good fit. It's not, great that he can't shoot the 3, but the playmaking that he'll provide, the extra scoring that he'll provide, I think is very much well worth it, on top of the fact that Beverly and Rondo weren't really doing all that much for you, and a rookie probably wouldn't have done much either. For the Mavericks, Josh Richardson, Dwight Powell, and Josh Green for a Kyle Lowry sign and trade. Now, I will say, I don't think that this is a great deal for the Raptors. I think there are multiple better sign-and trades that will likely be on the table for Kyle, so probably not the best deal on their end. if the Mavericks could make this happen, they'll probably throw in some second-round picks that they do have there. Unfortunately, the Stepien rule from the Porzingis trade would prevent them from trading future firsts. But Josh, Dwight, and Green can make around 24, 25 million, which I think is around what Lowry will go for. And Green is a young player that could potentially be something, so that can be some reason to do the trade, just so you're not getting nothing. But also Richardson and Powell. Richardson will be on a 1-year deal, so you could actually trade him for something, but Powell's on a 2+, I think. So not loving that deal, to be honest, but that's what I could think of for them. But I just really want Kyle Lowry on the Mavericks, and that took precedent over the actual value that the Raptors would be getting back. For the Blazers, I did this trade for the Eastern Conference. It goes both ways. CJ McCollum and Robert Covington for Ben Simmons. I think Dame and Ben Simmons would be a really good duo, with Ben being used in the pick and roll and a Draymond Green type of role as a power forward. I would really like to see that happen. I don't think it's like championship level. I think it improves their roster a decent degree, but not to the degree that they really need it to for Damian Lillard to want to stick around. But at the same time, after Damian Lillard leaves, you do have like a 25-year-old who's going to be a star caliber player for multiple years and a multiple year contract. I know how we feel about Ben Simmons right now, but at the same time, he's still a good NBA player, and I think that's a fair asking point. And I think on the Sixers end of things, which I'll talk about more in the East video, CJ is great. Robert Covington can be a 3-and-D player. More shot creation, more three-point shooting, all of that. For the Lakers, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Kyle Kuzma, and the 22nd pick selection for Buddy Hield. Buddy to the Lakers has been rumored already. I think this is pretty much what the package would be. KCP, the Kings could very easily flip for something else, or just keep him around if they try to remain competitive, or get competitive, I suppose. And Kyle Kuzma is Kyle Kuzma. He fills salary. That's pretty much what he achieves at this point. But obviously, a very, very good three-point shooter added to the Lakers would be great, because the three-point shooting is really rough. For the Grizzlies, sign Tony Snell. I think the Grizzlies need more 3-and-D type guys, and Tony Snell was statistically like the best shooter in the league last year. Percentage-wise, it was like 2.2 attempts a game, but percentage-wise, he's a very good three-point shooter. I just think he can be a pretty good rotation player, and they need more floor spacing, and he's going to be cheap. So there you go. For the Warriors, trade the number 7 and number 14 pick selection along with James Wiseman for Bradley Beal. Of course, you'd also have to include Andrew Wiggins in that deal to make the salary work, but yeah, I think that is a relatively good deal for Bradley Beal, rhyming accidentally. At the same time, the Wizards won't trade him unless he asks out, so it would be entirely reliant on that. It'd be real funny if this trade, which has like a real possibility of happening, just goes down before this video comes out. Maybe it did, and then this is just funny now. Or maybe it didn't, and I look like a jackass. I guess we'll see. The Spurs. I think they should offer Talen Horton-Tucker a contract in hopes that the Lakers won't match. Talen is a young player who I think genuinely has some real upside. While I don't think the Spurs have like the best fit just to let him be free for what he is, because they have a lot of guard stuff they have to figure out with like Lonnie Walker, DeJounte Murray, Derek White, I'm pretty sure Devin Vassell or Devin Vassell. I can't remember what it was. He barely played this year, so that's why it's not at the top of my mind, but I'm pretty sure he is a guard/wing. So Horton is not in the best position going to the Spurs, but I think they should be offering money to young players, and Horton is going to be one of those guys who gets paid more than he's probably worth because he's a restricted free agent. For the New Orleans Pelicans, sign Dwayne Dedmon or Gorgie Jang. Stretch 5, who's a good defensive player. Fits next to Zion. Duh. For the Sacramento Kings, trade Marvin Bagley for win now talent. And then in brackets, I have I don't know what specifically. I couldn't think of a specific Marvin Bagley trade because he's one of the more unique situations in the NBA right now. I don't really know what his value is. I don't know what teams are really going to be interested in him. And I don't know what the exact like win now talent would be. All I know is I think the Kings have enough talent right now to be a playoff team. And first of all, they need to fire Luke Walton, which I guess could have been one of the offseason moves. But then after that, try and actually add some veteran talent and some win-now talent to the roster. For the Minnesota Timberwolves, sign Paul Millsap. I'm pretty sure Paul will not be back with the Nuggets next year, and a defensive veteran 4 is something that would definitely fit very well on the Timberwolves. Of course, their Jaden McDaniels will be their most where they get their power forward spot and power forward minutes, but I think Millsap could be a decent mentor and a decent rotation player at the moment for getting him to be a really good defensive player as well. He's already pretty good, but like, you know what I mean. For the OKC Thunder, offer bigger contracts to guys like Talen Horton-Tucker, Gary Trent Jr., and Jarrett Allen. The Thunder have a lot of cap space. Now, don't get carried away because you're about to have to give a max extension to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but you do have money to play with to add some talent that you'll keep long term. Or one thing I could see the Thunder doing that I haven't seen people talk about much, and was kind of like a light bulb moment the other night when I was writing this script, they could do something similar to what the New York Knicks did, where they signed a bunch of veteran role players for just a little bit more than most like good teams would be willing to offer them, and then they later on traded those players for assets. Like, for example, they signed Marcus Morris, and then Marcus Morris was traded for a first-round pick that I believe became Emmanuel Quickley. So I could see the Thunder trying to be like, hey, we'll give a bunch of short-term, higher than normal contracts to veterans. Contending teams will trade for these veterans with their late first-round picks, and we can use those first-round picks because we got, God knows Sam Presti likes first-round picks. For the Houston Rockets, Eric Gordon to the Lakers for Kyle Kuzma, Marc Gasol, and 2 second-round picks. I'll be real, it's not the best thing that I could think of. Eric Gordon, I think, would fit well on the Lakers, even though he's kind of wishy-washy in terms of how actually good he is from a game-to-game basis. But Kyle Kuzma is salary filler again. Marc Gasol is salary filler here. I hope they would buy him out so we could go to a decent team after that. And you're getting some second-round picks out of Eric Gordon. That was one move that every team should make in the Western Conference. Make sure you stick around for part 2 of this video that should be out in 2 days after this one. Shout out to Rudy for editing this video, but at the end of this video, please be sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content like this, and cue the outro music.